correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com.
Welcome back to the How We Roll Gaming podcast, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. And as we record this, we're going into a holiday weekend. When this drops, you will have just finished a holiday weekend. So I hope you had a great holiday weekend. Nick, Robert, how are you gentlemen doing?
Doing well.
Doing well so far. Glad it's the weekend for me.
Yes, same here. And ready for the Baby Yoda shenanigans this weekend.
The Grogu and Mando show.
Yes, the Bad Baby show. Bad Baby.
Well, I thought that was the Super Bowl.
No, that's Bad Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
It's Bad Bunny.
Gotta get them right.
I mean, yes.
Unless you want a bunch of Super Bowl fans at your door.
That's right. That's right. Although, I mean, you can charge parking at admission. So
yeah, be at a premium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can make back that celebration ticket money, and then some.
And pay it back to me.
You just gotta trade your neighbor's like of you.
Oh, you think Nick's neighbors like him?
I think they tolerate him.
Yeah, but tolerating isn't liking.
Yes, but below tolerating is hating. So
you know who does like him though?
Squirrel.
They do indeed.
But we've got a pretty awesome topic tonight. So before we dive in, what say we take care of our housekeeping?
Yes, we must take care of that, because if you're enjoying How We Roll Gaming, you might want to check out another great show on the D20 Radio Network. It's our one and favorite, Me and Steve Talk RPGs.
It's a relaxed, thoughtful, and often hilarious deep dive into tabletop role-playing games, where the conversation can go from system design and GM advice to storytelling theory, actual play reflections, and the occasional chaotic tangent.
Whether you're a new GM looking for ideas or a veteran player who just loves talking RPGs, Me and Steve Talk RPGs is a brilliant companion. Listen, smart, funny, and always grounded in the real love of the hobby. So check it out.
Steve.
Yes, we love Me and Steve. And if you've listened recently, you'll see that Daryl and I have been guests before.
Yep. But let's get into our topic this particular episode. So every GM knows this moment. The scene is set, the dice are rolling, and something just isn't landing. Table goes a little quiet, energy dips, nobody's quite leaning in the way you expected, and that's where today's topic comes in. Reading the room. Not the fictional one in the game, but the real one around your table. So, because great GMing isn't just about prep or plot or even rules mastery, it's about noticing what your players are actually responding to in real time and being willing to adjust when they're not. Oh, and Nick and I have a story about that we will get into in a bit.
I will say that as someone who is not the most socially well aware, this is a difficult topic for some individuals who are not socially aware. So there are some cues that may fly right over your head in the classic Guardians of the Galaxy Drax way.
Yes, but nothing would go over his head. He is too fast. He would catch them. And in this episode,
we're breaking.
In this episode, we're breaking down the subtle signals of engagement and disengagement, how to react without losing momentum or derailing your game. So let's get into it.
Yes, let's. I'll preface it first by, of course, saying, if you've experienced this, again, don't attack yourself. Don't feel like you're failing as a GM. This is always going to happen with people. There's
And
always
I
going to
mean,
be a time when this happens.
and as someone who is socially awkward, that is something that will happen, but it's something that you can grow to. It's not a handicap. It's something that can be, just as with everything within social anxiety, you can adapt and learn from.
Yes, plus the way it may be happening for a person may not have anything to do with you. Maybe they just didn't have a good sleep last night. Maybe they stayed up till 3 a.m. Maybe they had a bad day at work. You don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking more about when players just aren't meeting the game on its terms and the game isn't meeting the players on their terms, which is a whole different beast from every single one of us at one point or another zones out at the table.
Yes.
And it's not because we're not digging the game. It's because we've just zoned out at the table.
But a good start is to say that, like, most of the time, if you're thinking it's your, as a GM, if you're thinking it's your fault, take a moment and reflect on that. It's like, it might not be your fault. It might just be a simple issue of miscommunication.
Yes, and I forget the name of the comedian who said it, but he did a bit where saying men's thoughts aren't all entangled. We have boxes. And one of our favorite boxes to be in is the nothing box, where we just stare ahead, zone out, and forget everything in the last 5 minutes. And we're very lucky our body involuntarily breathes for us.
Honestly,
I feel
guess,
personally attacked.
We all
Honestly-
feel personally attacked.
honestly, I can actually reflect on this because multiple times I have been said, like, Nick, are you staring at me? Like, no, I am staring at the middle distance that just so happens to be right next to you. I am not seeing you. I am literally looking at a small square that is like right, could be within my periphery, but I am focusing on there.
Or I'm not even staring. My eyes are forward, but I'm not actually seeing. I'm just up
Yeah,
here.
what I am not seeing what my eyes are pointed at. I am seeing a rerun of The Simpsons.
Basically, I've had to do that multiple times where people say, "Nick, why are you staring at me?" It's like I'm not. I am
I'm
literally.
not staring. I'm not staring at you. I'm in the land of chocolate.
There
Yes.
is a there's an entire world of my imagination that just so happens to be where my vision cone is currently focused in where I could like catch your arm or something.
Yes. So if you're a GM for men, that's a good sign. If we're just staring ahead and not responding, we're probably in our nothing box. But a better sign, as we all know, is when you look over and you see someone doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's
And
on their phone. We've all
I've
done it, Daryl.
yeah.
I mean, one of the it's a I do remember a very funny moment when we were in a game that we often recall. It's like, Nick, what are you looking at on your phone? It's like, I'm looking at porn.
I'm looking at increasingly shameful porn. Now leave me alone.
Just,
There goes our monetization.
but the
We're
main thing,
not monetized.
but the main factor was like
we are far away from monetization in terms of watch hours and subscribers. So
and it was the case. It's like,
fair.
and honestly, it was one time that you didn't catch me doing that, but it was like because the GM was asking me to find my hotspot. You came in right then as I did, and you made that joke, and I just was like, I just decided to respond with, like, yeah, I am.
Yes, that's a good subtle sign of disengagement, especially on a player's part, which mostly comes up in combat when you just went and you know it's going to be maybe 4 or 5 people before it's your turn again.
Which again, it
yeah.
is understandable. Like combat, especially in certain systems, can be a long period of time. But
Yes, we all know the joke is it takes us 3 hours to finish a combat. But in the actual session, it's like a minute.
But it does behoove you to watch and learn, because then because sometimes at one moment you say like X character did this, enemy did this, sets you up for like, oh, I can do that.
Yes. And I've found that, at least in my instance, when it comes to combat, a good way to engage a player again, especially if you have multiple NPCs in a fight, have one of them target that player, especially since they're gonna come up maybe next turn or a few turns later. Be like, you
And
got attacked, you're in danger. How are you going to respond?
everyone's gonna be in the encounter at some point. So as long as like you have enough ability to get to draw them right back in, like, and again, usually if it's
Well,
like a big, usually they will all like snipe in when it's like, okay, we have to take on the big bad evil guy. But it's like if you have like a bunch of minions, like spread out the minions so that they can at least hit some of the characters who are on the periphery so that they can be engaged.
Yes. And we don't mean
Well-
target, but graze them up now and then.
Yeah.
but we're not talking. We're talking less today about those occasional zone outs.
hmm
We're talking more when it's one or more players who consistently, under any particular circumstances, actively tune out. For instance, we've had occasion where we had someone for a while who the pattern clearly established itself that they were there for the rolling of the dice during combat,
hmm
and when it wasn't combat, when it was role play or narrative or story, continually had to be prodded. Hey, what you doing? What your character gonna do?
hmm
And drag them into the narrative part of the session. Their characters were, I'm trying not to speak too terribly ill, but their characters were relatively one-dimensional fighting machines, whatever system we were in.
True.
Yes,
And
they were definitely geared to more towards combat than anything else.
right. And so that's a case where I don't want to. I'm trying not to make this a situation where it's like, well, that person just isn't a match for the group or the game, so they
That's
gotta
not.
go. There's going to be people who that is what their focus is.
And
So you
they
try to
can
keep
be.
that in
Yeah.
mind and make for, even if it's not actual combat, make for actual rolling
En-
actions
Make for
for them to do.
engagement. If so,
Right.
like if the
Yeah.
if that is really you easiest way is you can add a couple more encounters into the adventure.
Yes, or maybe you tailor a scene to fit both role play and role play. Say maybe you have to get information from someone. Okay, maybe instead of meeting at a crisp little ball or Yuletide ball, have them meet instead in an underground fighting ring where that
That's
combat player is in the matches being like this new mysterious fighter contender while the other players cozy up to the target while they're betting on the guy.
again, there are ways to like massage that and like make certain that a player who's skilled fully at combat can still do their thing. And even if they, and again, this is assuming that the player is themselves not may have designed it not to role play is like do like social encounters, but you can still have them in the scene. They'll still have like they'll be fighting a character, like you said, in like a fighter's arena, or challenging the biggest guy at a bar to a boxing match.
Exactly. Find, like we say, tailor your scenes to involve everybody in some regard.
There's absolutely nothing wrong. And in fact, I encourage periodically throughout a campaign, take your players' temperatures.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
That is the
It's
big
like,
one.
hey, how are you? How's everybody doing with this. I mean, we all try to do this at the end of every session. And I know sometimes it might even sound like a perfunctory, I hope everybody had fun. But I know both of you share this with me in that we genuinely are asking, I hope you haven't. Tell me what you did like. If there's something that wasn't working for you, let me know
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
so that
sometimes
we
they say,
can.
I tried to do this in this session. How did you feel about it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am very perfunctory when I say like, here's a little behind the scenes fact. It's like that's usually my way of opening up. Like, did that work? If it didn't work, give me. I'm open to notes.
Yes, or and simply just say, what do you want for your character? Or maybe what do you want to happen in the story? Do you
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
it? Do you want a fight on a train? Do you want to do a race? Do you want to infiltrate the castle? What are you wanting to do?
Sometimes your characters don't have like clear goals or ideas, and that's always open to be like, hey, you want to talk about that? Talk with the players, talk with us about like making a goal if you don't have one like exactly at the moment.
Each of us have fairly new campaigns that we've launched in the last few months. And so as I'm thinking about this as we're talking, this is something that's just coming to me now. So with my Star Trek campaign, something that I might do is let everybody get a few sessions under their belts, start to get a feel for their characters and how they're bouncing off of one another. And as they start to get into, because I don't know about you, but it takes me several sessions to really get into a new character
It
that
takes
I'm
me
playing.
at
Yeah,
least 4 or 5.
So
at least 4 or 5.
what I think I might do is you peek behind the curtain for Nick, who's a player in it. Robert, you're not a player in it, so you're looking from the outside in at how I'm doing my GM planning on
Yeah.
this. I have multiple seasons sketched out for it, and each season is 10 sessions. One thing that I might do is after session or episode
Hmm.
5, take a moment at the end of the session to say, okay, this is the mid-season break. So how's everybody feeling about it? Is there anything that they want their characters to do? Do they feel like their character is kind of getting sidelined because of the nature of the sessions? What's going on? Let me take everybody's temperature.
Honestly,
And
and again, I'll speak as a player of that campaign that you're speaking of. I would very much like that, in that I like the character that I am developing, but I'll bet that they are sketchy in terms of their goal, their ideas, and what they would
well,
be like for a camp for like a goal yet. I haven't like nailed that down yet.
Nick, I'm going to let you in on a little secret for your character here. Let me just get my notes pulled up. But I have this planned for you and one other character this season 1. I think I have yours in season 1. That's why I want to pull my notes up. And of course, OneNote is taking forever to load up. Here we
And
go.
You're gonna give him
no,
the
no,
lens flares?
no.
Nick wants the lens flares. Um, but hang
You do
on.
know that
There
if I be it one shot or a campaign of this system, you will be all
so
blinded by the lens flares.
Nick, session 4, I have penciled in as a spotlight session for your character.
Ooh.
And then I have another
I'm literally kicking my feet up.
Ooh la la.
I'm kicking my
and
feet up because I'm on my bed right now and I'm kicking my feet up like I'm at a sleepover.
and then
Okay.
set session 8 I have penciled in as a as a spotlight session for Stephanie's character. I've got one for Betsy's character early in season 2. We are doing this like a genuine Star Trek series where periodically there will be
And
an episode where a character steps into the spotlight and
again,
gets a lot of character
I'm
focus.
I'm very thankful for that. But that again, like as I said, like I am still sketching out the character, and this upcoming session will definitely help like nail that down, and maybe at that point like help me put that, because again, like
Hey,
the,
you allowed me to pick some juicy material for your backstory, and so I will be playing with that kind of element.
I'm
Yes,
just
and this can be used in
yeah.
conjunction with something like that. It's not just take your character's temperature, but as you're doing the session, simply pay attention to how the player's playing their character.
Oh
Like
yeah.
how do they act? What's their temperament? Or does something interesting happen that you can build off on that you think
Because
two or more
as someone
players may be able to work with?
as someone who's played in maybe not as many games as I wanted to, the minute I create a character, but then once I enter the session, like I said, like, oh, this guy's gonna have this accent. Well, no, he has this accent now and this personality now. It's like, is that classic idea like nothing survive, no plan survives. Entering into in meeting the enemy, but in this case, meeting the role playing scenarios. Like you'd be like, oh, you want to be like, oh, I'm the suave character, but like there's someone else that's already suave. So now you're like, I'm kind of the cool guy.
Yes, because in my newer campaign, Legend of the Five Rings, last session, things were a little tense between your character, Nick, and Dante's character after some
Mm-hmm.
certain things were revealed. And I'm just like, nice, because I going to try and build on that as we get closer now into Crane lands rather than Scorpion lands.
And again, it was not intentional because again they were new, and as I said, like I'm still nailing down. Though I did make some major decisions, now I'm sort of becoming the character is becoming, and it was building off of that new character. It's like this was like the friction that we had was like natural. It was like very much like the idea of like water carving out a canyon is like natural creating a divide.
Exactly. And I'm either going to do things that can lengthen the divide or maybe heal it a little. We'll see.
And like there's and again our characters get again like I believe in some of the one I believe it was Betsy's characters like it could either be like we're gonna be mortal enemies or we're gonna be the best of friends.
Yes. And like I'm still trying to
Whether that's your
scope out
story,
Daryl and Lawrence's characters as
yeah.
well.
I'm remember we were saying it sometimes takes several sessions to get into the I'm still trying to find the character's head. Everything that I picked on paper, I love. I'm trying to figure out how that all works
Again,
together.
honestly,
Yeah, and since we've been playing with each other for years now, I can tell when you're still in the middle of figuring it out because they're usually more silent.
like
Yes.
honestly, it was like our last session. There was like I made big decisions, but now I'm like, this is where I think I'm going, and like I'm gonna at least butt heads against this character. But where that goes, that itself is like how our characters and how the story goes. So like I feel a lot more comfortable there, even though I did make some big decisions, which will at least push. I at least made decisions that will push the character forward when I didn't know what the character was. So now that can make some changes and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, we've talked a lot about engaging players when something doesn't hit with from them. But now we got to get into the thing that sometimes GMs are afraid of is that you got something planned, got something really big, and you throw it out there and nah.
It's kind of the you have a plot point and it doesn't hit.
Yeah, you're baiting, but they're not really biting. Not for anything like
Or
morally bad about it, but it's just like they don't really vibe with that direction.
Or they're vibing with what the plot point is, but not how it's being executed.
Yeah.
Yes, they may be
Because
focusing on one thing when you're like, I never wanted that to be a major thing.
now this is different from what we've discussed before, like a major piece of things that they are using in a different way. This is more like an actual, like, you are setting up the storyline, and they are like, for lack of a better term, it's a cat batting at the castle. It's like bored.
Yeah, it's like we've got to go get the Ashen Crown, but I don't really want to get that.
I this is at least I guys got you to do that, but you didn't for different.
You did, and we stay engaged for it, but you zigged where we zigged, and we were like, let's go open a tavern.
Yes.
But the actual version that we're talking about is like, I set up like, there's this thing called the Ashen Crown, and you're like, well, I don't care.
Yeah, and over sessions, we developed our characters to be like, yeah, if we give this to this government, we may start another war. And we don't want
want to
that.
do that.
But it's entirely possible for your characters to have been like, okay,
Let's do it. Give me money.
Yeah.
or be like,
No.
here's the piece, and we're piecing out, and we're just gonna go do other things.
Now, there are times that this can also stem from not a case of the story itself doesn't engage the players, but as a GM, we can have an idea that we're like, oh boy, on paper, this is going to be awesome. And it goes with what you've had in mind for how to run the campaign.
Yeah.
And ultimately, okay, I'm going to be blunt about it because Nick, I think, knows where I'm about to go.
Yep.
Where I'm about to
I
start
think I know where
segueing.
you're about to go too.
That it ends up just not being fun.
Yes.
So, Nick, we're at about the half-hour mark. Do we want to go into our story?
Well, I think that it's kind of, unfortunately, sort of the crux of this, because this is the bigger part of, like, it exemplifies a lot of what we're talking about.
Yes, and I guess in a way it also resembles the wrong direction to take this as a GM.
It's an example of why you need to read the room.
Without naming names, we're gonna say that he was a great player, had some foibles, and was a brilliant part of, like, our early experience with the Star Wars role playing game.
And is able to look at all of the talents on a specialization tree, see how they interact, and meld them all together in the way that Fantasy Flight, I think, wanted.
Almost better than even, like, the actual, like, because he
And
did even added his name into a couple of the books as a playtester.
without going into the campaign premise or anything, and let me say, the campaign premise was awesome.
Oh, it was
Except for this period that we're talking about,
It was
which had nothing
execution.
yeah, it had nothing to do with the premise. The issue that we had nothing to do with the premise. So we joined the game. Short version of this setup, our capital ship is heavily damaged. And we find an inn to get to Kuwait shipyards and get the parts we need. And we're needing huge parts too. And we find a way to get a large scale heavy freighter for the parts. Great. The session that we get to this station that has the parts and the freighter, we find an inventory and we manage to get approval for the parts to be loaded
And with
onto
some
this
dial,
freighter.
we get the fun. We had the funds. We were the funds, and able to get what should have bankrupted us, but like enough to like get this thing.
Yeah.
Basically
Yeah,
upstart this whole campaign.
Yeah, and so great that happens in the session that we get to the station. Awesome. So let's get everything loaded and get out of here.
Oh, that and I feel that
That.
well in my bones.
Well, it's going to take 3 days, I think he said.
Yes, 3 days. I was there. I was
I
there.
don't remember the time frame. It was going to take, because of the volume and size of parts, it was going to take multiple days.
Yes.
And it's like, all right, fair enough.
Okay, so at that point, as GM,
that was described at the end of the session that I was part of it. Just to make sense of,
that's the end of
I had to not be part of multiple sessions due to time conflicts.
So
I was there for that ending of that. It's like, okay, in a couple days we'll have the things. I come back
as a player.
Yes.
My reasonable assumption was, okay, so we pick up the next session. The next session will cover the days of loading, and we'll have some little side quest, which totally reasonable.
Yeah,
that is totally reasonable. So this campaign met every 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of sessions, we had sessions on that station while the ship was being loaded over those several days for 5 or 6 months. And things would keep happening to
the
delay our departure.
The side quest that we were thinking, like, oh, that's going to we'll do that, and then the stuff will be loaded. It's like, no. Stuff would happen, and that would delay the loading.
If you're an anime fan, this is the Dragon Ball 5 minutes.
Basically, yes.
And so, as players, because we understood what he was trying to do. He was trying to insert a sense of I won't say realism, I will say verisimilitude.
Yes.
I will borrow from Richard Donner.
That's a good term.
He was trying to instill the sense of, this isn't just, you show up and say, I want the parts, and somebody says, okay, and then you leave with the parts. But it just kept going.
Again, like, I was unfortunate as someone that was like, I could only come in like every 2 or even be in like the 3rd week of what. I was like, are we off the station?
No.
Yes, and some verisimilitude is all right.
Yes, there's some
but people play games to escape real life.
And especially certain large amounts of, like, we aren't playing the Ever Giving and stuck in the Suez Canal.
We're not playing any of those simulator games that have become really popular.
Yeah,
so at least the very those, you go into that knowing, like,
what you're getting.
So as players, we were being polite, but we were also
on edge.
We were getting visibly frustrated with this situation.
And I think we were getting close. One of our players was, we've gamed with them before, and I've never seen them sort of stand up like that before. When they said, like, there's a moment where, like, a bad roll happens, like, oh, that's going to cost us another week. And they stood up as like, another week?
Yeah, we were we were getting visibly irritated with this status.
A
And the thing of
cabin
it,
fever. A cabin fever was
and
afflicting.
characters were throwing out, okay, well, when we're done, when we get off of this station, I want to go here and do this. When we get off of the station, I want to go here and do this. But we were still on the station.
Yeah, what's the common denominator of those sentences?
We had goals that we were like, and we were making plans. We were making connections. We were contacting individuals. We were basically setting up a whole campaign in there. But we were like, if we'll be able to do the campaign when we leave.
Yes, and you two were actually in the campaign, or that saga of the space station. In your opinion, simply your opinion, do you think the GM just didn't pick up on your cues, or was it more of a case of the sunk cost fallacy? They doubled down.
Doubled down.
Double down. I think that they felt that from what again we've gamed with them plenty of times.
I will let Nick give his impression, then I will give mine.
My impression, based on what I know of them, and they are a number cruncher. They are a spreadsheet commando.
We nicknamed the campaign Spreadsheet Wars.
I remember you saying
because
that.
we were instructed that we would have to keep granular track of things like fuel and whatnot. And so I when I say we had a spreadsheet of the parts that were being loaded, and with a successful roll that we had, all of the extra material that we were getting, that we had a spreadsheet of all of that. I'm not speaking metaphorically.
Hey, you got to do some Excel skills while you were playing.
But that's Nick's impression of the situation. My impression of the situation is more a case of the GM thinking, no, I know why I'm wanting to do this, and once this part is over, you're going to see why it was awesome. We did not insert Morgan Freeman narrating. We did not, in fact, see why it was awesome.
Yes, because there is always a point as a player where you're like, okay, maybe this will pay off in the end. Maybe this will pay off at the end. But then you reach that line where you're like, even if this paid off greatly, I just don't care anymore.
That is we're both coming from different perspectives on that, but it's the same thing. It's like he believed that what he was doing was going to create once we surpass this point, or when we look back on this point, we'll be like, oh, it all fits together and this is great.
But it had the opposite effect in that
we couldn't see the peak was too far from the valley we're in.
Well, what I was going to say is we then came to realize, if this is just the loading process, how long is it going to take for the ship to actually be repaired with these parts, to be functional and get into the premise of the campaign that sold us on playing in the first place?
That realization moment was like, oh no.
Basically, yeah, it's like, wait, if it's taking this long to repair the warship,
not just repair, to get the parts
for the warship, then we have to repair it and likely defend it, because again, this is a role-playing game. This is going to be fights. There's going to be things. It's not going to be easy to do this, and then it's going to get into fights, and it's going to get damaged, which means we're going to need to get parts to repair.
And the cycle happens.
And I will say that after we got off the station, there was one side session that we were literally being punished as players for misinterpreting a clue that we were given and following our misinterpretation of the clue.
I would say that you weren't punished by the. Again, wasn't there, but I would say like you weren't punished for misinterpreting crew. You were given a red herring, and when you followed up with it, the GM decided like, oh, how stupid of you for following the red herring I put out.
Yeah,
That's a fair way of looking at it too.
yes,
That
and that
again, I wasn't there for that, but honestly, it felt more. It felt like, oh, I set a trap, and instead of like, it wasn't even like a trap that like damaged you. It's like, what were you doing? Like, why
instead
would
it's
you?
just more. No, I'm going to waste your time to see how long you follow this.
The whole session.
Yes,
And again, it's
because
again
I've done red herrings
that
myself before, but there's got to be a cutoff point to be like you've reached the dead end, so you got to go back.
that's why I call it like what it is. It's like you spent this whole session, you accomplished nothing. And why would you? Because you followed my red herring. It's like you should have realized it was a red herring. It's like that's not how you set. If you're gonna set a red herring, at least make it a trap. At
Yeah,
least
and
make it a
that's
clever ploy.
yeah, and that's where as a GM you got to decide. Okay, do I just do the trap or figure out a trap even though I didn't plan one, or do I just flip it and
Or-
say this is the actual interpretation of the clue? You're right.
So I'm now
Or some sort of third option, some sort of like, oh, this is a side quest that you there's some like nothing. There's
no.
something new that you can gather that could be important later.
Now we've just spent about 15 minutes griping about this situation.
Yeah.
Now, to answer the question that you gave, yes, it was clearly obvious that we were frustrated with what was going on. And I that is not to say that what we did play of this campaign before it just kind of fell apart because life and scheduling and coupled with the
Yeah.
frustration most of us were feeling with the
I'll
campaign.
admit for my part, I did try to do my best to like not, but even I was like, I think even it's like I was getting like, and
Yeah.
again, I just couldn't commit to the full schedule,
I
but
will
like,
ask as the
but I
But
G
was,
as I will ask this for the GM himself. When a session would end, would he ask for any feedback, or would he just it'd be more of like, okay, we're good, see you next time?
it was very much like it. All right, we're done. He did pack. I mean, he had some high production value. He accessed the TV that was there, and
no, he brought a TV.
oh yeah, he brought a TV there, and I mean, the only thing that he needed from me was my hotspot for a couple times. But it's like, but he would be like, all right, we're done for the session.
Yeah,
We'll
and
see you in 3 weeks.
that's a good time where even if you're not actually reading the room, it's always good maybe 2 or 3 sessions in the future to just ask how we all feeling.
And again,
Even if you feel like things are going great, just ask.
you could argue that we couldn't do that because this was at a local GameStop, so like hanging out, and they had like a Yu-Gi-Oh card tournament on the same days, but like that still could have been done
You got a few
online,
minutes to walk to your cars.
and it could have been done online on Meetup over text messaging. It wasn't like we're in the Stone Age, so we could have discussed. He could have reached out to like, how you guys feeling? I had to leave because I needed to move stuff, and I had to move out because I had the cold time. It was like
Or
the
just
whole thing.
I thought I had fun. How about you guys? Just
Again,
Yeah.
there was no. It was it's within the modern times, so we could have he could have reached out to us to like
But
gauge things.
what I was starting to get at though is, we griped about it for about 15 minutes just now, just
Mhm.
hitting, major bullet points. But I don't want to give the impression that we hated that campaign.
We
We hated the situation that we were in. The character that I played is still it quickly became it's kind of funny. He became one of my favorite characters to play, in part because some of his quirks were me like thumbing my nose at obstacles the GM threw at me.
Yeah, I honestly came in for like three of my, a couple of my favorite like Star Wars player characters and some of my NPCs. I was because when he proposed the campaign, it was very vague, so I had like a whole bunch of like NPCs planned out. So like I got a great reservoir of that, and though I question the lore of it, I do love the setup.
Yeah, the setup was great, but like my character, uh, to, to give
Honestly,
some
your character
to give some
became a very big favorite.
yes, to give some context, the campaign kicked off in the Clone Wars, but because of relativity and a singularity that the ship got caught in, it escaped the singularity's gravity well, time dilation. They show up during the galactic early part of the Galactic Civil War. So it's a
Time
Venator,
travel.
a Clone Wars Venator, a Clone Wars Venator with a Clone Wars era crew, and my character was a Padawan, and he was a Wookiee Padawan. And so, just because of how the crit dice rolled, well, actually, the first thing, the fun part came first before the crit. So, as we're about to go to
This is
this
where the fun
station,
begins.
as we're about to go to the station, right? Well, I can't wear Jedi robes. So I start going through looking for something, and I was like, maybe something to blend in. The captain of the ship has to have something. He was kind of a big guy. Do I find anything that fits me? And he has me roll, and he does is like, yes, you find a Hawaiian shirt. And I say, I will take it.
You have a Zeltronian blazer.
And after getting to the station, the way a crit rolled, lost one of my arms.
Named.
Re-
Sucks.
replaced with a cybernetic arm. So I had artwork commissioned
And
of
It's awesome. It's the best artwork I've seen.
of my Wookiee Padawan with his lightsaber with a big chunky cybernetic arm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. I love this piece of artwork.
And I think your lightsaber is green?
Blue.
Blue, okay.
Blue.
But like, I don't remember. I came in the week after. It's like, and you told me that it's like that's sick.
Well, and just the icing on the cake is I myself went to a thrift store and bought like 5 of the ugliest Hawaiian shirts I could find.
Oh,
and I wore
the
them to the sessions.
That's the whole reason I asked. Is like
that's making your fun right there.
Because like I know I had known Daryl, and it's like I've never seen him in a Hawaiian shirt. I saw him that day. It's like, what did I miss? It's like you told me. It's like, oh, that's sick. And I remember I specifically gave you a high five. Like, that's so cool.
But there were elements of that campaign that we liked.
Again, like
in terms of that, yeah, we loved. I think we all liked our characters.
Yeah.
We really loved the premise, so much so that it never happened. But with that campaign's GM's blessing, one of the other players and I were going to relaunch as like a season 2.
Yes, and you've even talked about that in our group of a relaunch.
Yeah. And he and I were going to co-GM, and the reason we were going to co-GM is we both liked the idea, but we also wanted to play our characters.
Yes.
So it's like, well, if we co-GM rather than co-GMing the same sessions, we'll trade off storylines.
Yes, and that makes perfect sense.
Again, it's like, if said individual is listening, and I kind of hope they are, because we do appreciate them. They are a part of many stories, many great stories.
Yes, we love when you would make Nick go off camera and say, "Dang it!"
Yes,
But
And
but most importantly, like this was a moment that this was a teaching moment, and again, that's not a bad thing. I hope that they again, part of it is that you have to learn to read the room, and yeah, there was moments when we were considering like flipping the table over.
yeah, now there was another mechanic that a homebrew mechanic that he used for this campaign that I really liked. Robert, you have your full Dark Side Destiny flip,
Yes.
Brilliant.
which I mentioned in the Star Wars RPG subreddit the other day, and somebody was like, "Oh my god, I love that! I'm stealing that." Um,
Okay. Glad it's
but
going around.
Oh,
but
again, I remember when I
Yes.
brought it up at Gamer Nation Com a couple when we
yeah, I
last played.
brought
It's
it
like,
up to the Austin crew,
and
and
they
they're
were
like,
like,
"Oh
wait,
my
wait,
god!"
that, no, they said like, wait, you game with him? It's like, yeah. It's like, how do you survive? It's like, it's
But
fun.
but since this was at a local comics and game store that doesn't charge for the table space, um, what he did is he instituted a mechanic that if you bought something from the store while we were there, you had a personal destiny point
Oh, that's nice.
And again,
that
as again like when fun fact the Star Wars group is called the Plano Star Wars role playing group, and it was originally supposed to be like I was going to originally always run it at Madness Comics and Games, but since that evolved way after that to being at my home, but it's like something like that was something that I was even thinking about. It's like, well, they say like if they buy something, they get a boon or something like just to support the local friendly game shop.
yeah, yeah, every player that purchased something at the table, and we all made a point of, we would go up and buy it when he could see it and come back and show him,
Yeah, here's my receipt.
and you got a
Uh,
personal destiny point that stayed in front of you, and did it did not count in the limit of one destiny token per turn per player that could be used. So you could flip a destiny point from the community pool and also flip your own destiny point.
Well, see, that's what
So
you
if
were missing, Daryl. He was waiting for one of you to make some giant purchase. Then you could say, "Can we leave the station?" And he'd have said yes.
I think we tried that.
no, we did. It was like we did. It was like we all went up. It's like, can we flip all of our? Because we did. We I think we've got like sodas. It's like if we flip all of our personal distributions, we get off the station.
No. This is like you mentioned, Madness Games. No, he was waiting for one of you to buy like one of the giant statues that they always have on sale, and it'd be like, "Okay, now you can leave the station."
Nah, this wasn't at Madness though, so they didn't have
Yeah,
anything that big.
Something equivalent to that.
but
No.
no, like again, like honestly, it was kind of difficult to even get there because they were doing the local Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, so like we'd have to go
Oh yeah,
past.
that's a lot.
We had to get past them because it's like they were exchanging the booster packs that they were winning. It's like I just want a little soda.
I just want a soda and a candy bar. Really, that's
It's,
all I want.
it's again, like, I didn't want to have to. And there's all it was a mix between like these earnest little kids and these giant guys. It was like I'm beating all these children with my extra meta deck. It's like, dude, I just want to buy a soda. Why do you need 5 booster packs?
It's like, dude, I didn't even watch the show growing up. I'm not here to play that.
I know that we have painted kind of a grim impression of that campaign. There was fun to be had,
There
but
was fun.
the room wasn't red.
Or like a
Yeah.
comparison, it's like the old Mario Game Boy games. It's like you love some levels, then you get to the water level, and then it's just a drag. But then you get back to the fun stuff. That's what we
Exactly.
mean.
Like the fact that we talk about these games, even with a fondness for even like these less than stellar moments, is proof that we had fun. We still find it we don't find it accurate. This isn't like a dark moment where it's like woe is to us during these dark times. It's like we have a little bit of fun with like discussing it and find something to find positive to
Yeah.
explain
I
to
mean,
others.
it's a testament. Daryl Nick, during that whole space station debacle, did anybody leave?
Nope.
I was trying to remember if anyone did or not, and I don't think so.
We were the
That's
main
one
three.
testament that they liked it.
Again,
If someone is just out of it, they're just, I'm out.
again, I would again like honestly, the GM asked me like, "Are you still kind of like?" I just have like more complications, so I can only make it either like 2 sessions a month or 1 session a month. But I can at least made it to at least 1 session a month, and I'd be like, "Are we out of the station yet?" It's like
No,
no.
but one thing.
But I was always like, "Okay, let's maybe it'll be
Maybe
this
this is the
time."
session.
Now, the really sad part is once we did get off the station and get the parts back, just because of life and scheduling, there was a gap in there in some sessions. And I think he took the lesson of that frustration to heart because the repairs to the ship were proceeding quickly behind the scenes in the sessions that followed. The only reason the repairs, I think, didn't happen immediately in that gap is we got a hold of or unlocked somehow plans for like a next stage Venator
Yeah,
that we then had to make the decision, do we just repair it back to factory spec that we know, or do we try to seek sponsorship from this rebel alliance that we've heard about to upgrade it to these hypothetical next stage plans?
Rebels, dirty separatists.
Sadly, within like 2 sessions of us getting those plans and the actual campaign that we signed up for kind of starting in earnest, that's when the campaign fell apart.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
when the killer came in. Scheduling.
Yes. The the schedules looked at us and said,
Finish him!
I don't view it as a bad time. I don't think any one of us viewed it as like an overall bad time, but it was definitely something that we've learned a lot from, and
"Yep,
we were all generally we were all giving it the old college try.
Yes. So
now
engagement,
Robert,
disengagement, it's all a combination of personal growth, group growth, and just creative growth.
But it does
and
require a certain amount of like I think like the ultimate thing is like GMs can be lost in their idea sometimes. Sometimes they see like the grand big picture and the players are left picking up the pieces and thinking like, well, where do I fit in?
Robert, I will tell you, I know that while you're not a player in my Star Wars Rebel Yell campaign, you occasionally stop by and play a Chaos Agent NPC
Mhm.
hanger on. I know that you were around for the start of their time on the wheel.
Yes, because I've got them in trouble.
When what I figured was going to be 2 sessions on the wheel started to stretch into a third, I consciously thought of that campaign. And I was consciously thinking, okay, I need to find a way to try to ensure that the third session on the wheel gets them off of the wheel because I don't want, partly because I just plain didn't want them to get stuck on the wheel. But I also know that all of the players are either Nick, who was there for it, or have heard us tell the stories of that campaign, and I didn't
Yeah, what
want
do you say? Our next session is gonna be like our 87th on the wheel.
Nick, you were only on the wheel you've been off of the wheel longer now than you were
Yeah,
on the wheel.
I think it's been a few months, Nick. I think you're off by now.
Yes, you've been off the wheel for quite a while.
Do you ever leave the wheel, or are you always just spinning?
Oh, he's getting philosophical on us.
He's getting philosophical. Maybe we should pick on him.
Oh
But
no!
but before we pick on him, any last thoughts on reading the room? I know that we spent half of the episode just recounting a story of when the
But
room
it
wasn't
is.
read.
But Robert,
Hey, that story was a fable. It had a moral lesson in it.
it does.
And I'm not saying that just because I did a trivia night yesterday
Oh,
of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Were you?
Allegory counts too.
I know I'm not.
It says it in the description. It counts.
Yeah.
But what final thoughts do we have on reading the room?
asking how the players is not a admission of like, am I doing bad? It's just like checking the room.
And as a GM, if you can, take note of how in the beginning and going forward every session, how each player is growing into their character, how they're interacting with themselves, the environment, and each other, and see how you can build up on that to keep engagement.
Try and notice if individual players are struggling or not being as engaged. It could be as simple as like they're having a hard time focusing, or it could be like you need to give a little bit more enrichment.
Exactly. And like we said in the beginning, don't view disengagement as you are failing. It just means zig a little bit this way instead.
Spice things up a little bit. Give them a reason to engage.
And again, it's like you said, Robert. It's like, don't take it personally. It could be just as simple as like they didn't sleep well, or they're having a rough time IRL. It just needs like a breather.
Yeah, this is not a
And
video game where everything's already been made out, so you can't change it. You can change it in the middle.
and
Sometimes they come here to like let that out, and they'll feel better. Like it may not be like the perfect scenario for them, but they're letting that out. Like, yeah, they feel better for hanging out with friends.
and the thinking about it too, with the right group of players, that extended stay on the PlayStation would have slayed.
You're right.
Yeah, get you, Betsy and Stephanie in a room. Even that station would have been burned to the ground.
No, I mean with a group of players who were 100% on that same page with the GM.
Yeah, that because you never know what like sometimes the most absurd idea could be like everyone's like, no, I dig this.
Or, I maybe you're right, Robert. Maybe it required, it required more shenanigans than we. Although that same
but what
campaign, our little Tibers running gag, that's where it was born.
Well, there also remember I came in like on like the second month and so like, can't we just steal the station? And then
Yes.
I said that just out of frustration, and then you looked at me and it's like,
No,
I looked at him and said, "One of us, one of us."
I mean, for a moment, I was like,
And,
can't we just steal the train station now?
He's like, we've pretty much lived on it.
This is the perfect part to drop one of our new audio clips.
They shenaned once, they'll shenan again.
Yes, I like it. But yes, anything else?
I can't think of anything. Like I said, just take the temperature, check in with everybody every so often, especially if you feel that get a sense
Again.
that a session or a particular storyline just didn't grab everybody the way that you thought it would.
And again, we have modern conveniences. If you don't feel like pulling someone aside before they end or outside it, like you can always contact them via Discord, social media, or text message. Any way that makes it more comfortable without making them feel like they're singled out as well.
Yep, or you can tie a note to a squirrel and send it to them to ask.
Oh, well.
A messenger squirrel.
Yes.
Nah, I wouldn't do that.
Though, since I talked about it, Nick, trivia question for you. Very easy one. What U.S. state is the closest to Africa?
That's Florida?
It's Maine.
I was about to guess Maine.
It's Maine?
It would have just been a pure guess.
Yes, because you have to remember the world is round, so that map you look at is a lie.
It's not even round, it's spherical.
It's more of an oblong circle. Oh, yeah, right.
Because I
That
mean,
would be Maine.
if I'd known we were going to go down that rabbit hole, I would have pulled the clip from the Superman movie from last summer when Lois called the T-spheres circles. He's like, "It's not a circle, it's a sphere. A circle's flat."
That would be Maine.
Yes, and it's our duty to be Maine to you, Nick.
I see what you did there.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Oh, you got me there. All right, you earned it. You earned it. Hit me with your best shot.
No, see, I can't beat that pun tonight. Robert
All right,
wins.
Robert, you got it. Oh, yes.
Then I suppose we'll end on the high note. And
Bravo!
close us out.
So head on over to howwerollgaming.com, your central hub for everything How We Roll Gaming. You'll find details on our current campaigns, our full podcast archive, plus quick links to our merch store and all our social channels so you can stay connected wherever you hang out online. And speaking of our merch store, just mere days after this episode drops, when we hit June, all of our current limited edition funny slogan t-shirts will go away to make room for our 2026 Roll with Pride collection.
Woo!
And after June is up, I have some ideas for some new little funny slogan shirts.
I have some ideas
one of them might have been hinted at before.
They shenanigans. They'll shenanigan.
Yeah, we can make ones like, are we off the station yet?
We're
yes,
never off the station.
Never. And if you're looking to support the show directly, the best way is through Patreon at patreon.com/howwerollgaming. We've got membership tiers starting at just $2 a month, with perks ranging from special recognition in our Discord community to on-air credits and exclusive discounts in the merch store. And while you're supporting us, you can also help the show at no extra cost by using our drive-through RPG affiliate link when picking up your next tabletop goodies.
And finally, we want to hear from you. Got questions you want us to tackle? Topics you'd love to see on the show? Or a legendary RPG glory story from the sphere? Drop us a line anytime at podcast@howwerollgaming.com. We read everything, and your message might just end up in the show. I'm winking. I'm not on the camera, but I can wink.
No, you're not. So
you could get on the camera.
Yeah, you could. Yes.
But I'm a coward.
Thanks as always for joining us. Until next time, play smart, play bold, and always leave room for chaos. I'm Daryl.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Robert.
And this is How We Roll.